Hello, 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 and good evening. Daniella here, Redesign Your Life Forever. And tonight is my day 20. Oh my God. I can't believe we are 20 days into the 30-day video challenge. It has made this month go by like that. And tonight is a very important lesson, and one that personally I have had a lot of ups and downs with, a lot of struggles with. And it is something that's really, really deeply ingrained into our culture. And it is not being a lifelong learner. That is what is ingrained into our culture. What is ingrained is that we need to get it. We need to get it immediately. And if we don't get it immediately, then we're a failure. And that is absolutely the antithesis of what is going to allow you to have joy and lust for life and fun exploring and all of these wonderful things that we want to have in our lives. That is really the antithesis. What's really, really going to hold you back is that fear of failure. So if you'll check out that video that I posted yesterday, I believe, it's called The Long Game, How Da Vinci was known as a failure. And if any of you know, it's a wonderful 3-part series, if any of you have seen it. It's on YouTube, so it's for free. I definitely suggest you check it out because it goes into even more depth about all of these wonderful artistic and, mathematical minds and masters, all of the people, that we have been taught to... Cat, what are you doing? My cat is just a little crackhead, bless his heart. These masters that we've been taught to look up to, and how they actually they went through 30, 40, 50 years of living in obscurity, just grinding away at their own thing, purposefully trying and failing. Hello, Miss Sonia. Hello, hello, darling. How are you this evening? Thanks for popping by. How they went through... Cat? Say hello to my little crackhead. But how they went through decades of obscurity, grinding away at their own passions, purposefully almost trying to fail so that they could find what not to do, which leads you to the thing that is going to work. So again, this has been something that's really been a bit of a trigger, just a rub for me in my own personal life, because it seems to everyone that I ever talk to, my parents and everybody who's ever known me since I was a little kid, basically says that you were such a perfectionist even as a 3-year-old, that you expected yourself to be able to run marathons before you could even crawl, and when you couldn't do it, you'd get pissed at yourself. So this is something that I personally have a lot of hang-ups and baggage with, and all kinds of things. So I really, really understand, so much so, where this fear of failure comes into really keeping us from being able to enjoy the experiences in life. So like tonight, for instance, we're making dinner, actually, so I stepped away just for a second so that I could chat with you all. But we are doing like a whole Chinese takeout spread, which is, chow mein and beef and broccoli and orange chicken. And yes, he is. He's my mini panther. I call him my little black panther, for sure. And Frank has a blue Russian, which is all gray, and so we call her the Winter Soldier. So we've got Black Panther, Winter Soldier, yay Avengers. So, but anyway, so... we're in there making Chinese takeout, right, for the first time, and neither of us have ever done anything like this. Of course we've made sauces, and of course, we've fried things and blah, 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 but we've never created this kind of thing before. And again, we're also taking on home brewing, making our own beers and ciders, and that is something that we are being adventurous with and trying, but it is... there have been so many years where I've wanted to do my own homebrew, make my own mead, make my own cider, and literally the fear of failure has kept me from doing that. because I'm so worried that if I screw up a batch, it's going to be such a waste of materials and ingredients and time and blah, 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 that it's not going to have made it worth it. And that mindset is absolutely ridiculous because in those experimentations, in those times where we screw up, much like Edison said, I found a bajillion ways to how to not make a light bulb. And then there's a light bulb. You know, and if we hadn't, and of course we can't get into the Edison-Tesla conversation because that's a whole nother conversation. But the idea behind that is that, again, Da Vinci, Michelangelo, Edison, Tesla, all of these great minds, Newton, all of these great minds that we are trained to look up to, we are not trained to understand the years of personal exploration that they went through to become the masters that we look up to today. All of those years of self-development, personal development, development of the craft, trying and failing are completely looked over. They're not even mentioned. And that is one of the biggest disservices to our culture, to our own, to our humanity at large, is not acknowledging the fact that you have to try and you're gonna screw up, and that's okay. Can I tell you how many of these lives I've ever screwed up in my life before I was this comfortable in front of a camera, guys? I mean, can I tell you how many times I've recorded and recorded and recorded myself? Back in the day when I first got started, I could take maybe like 12, 13, 15 takes. It would take me 4 hours to record a 15-minute video because I was editing myself so much, because I was so afraid of making a mistake, of flubbing my words, of, having my brain blank out like sometimes it does. Like sometimes everybody's does. But this fear of failure is really what keeps us from being able to enjoy life. So I have, particularly over this summer and, especially leading into this fall, have really taken that I am a lifelong learner by the horns and go, you know what? If I flub my words, that's okay. If I forget a sentence or forget a word in the moment, that's okay. If we screw up a little bit of this food tonight and it doesn't taste exactly what like Chinese takeout will taste like, that's okay. Because number one, it's probably going to be edible, which is great. We'll take that. We'll take that over an absolute abject, just complete throw it in the bin and go, order some real Chinese takeout. But the point is that we are so afraid of failure. We are trained in our society by our parents because they don't know any, that's how they got trained, by our teachers and our peers because that's how they got trained, by our educational system because that's how that's formulated, to be so afraid of failing that we never actually try anything unless we have a 100% guarantee, signed, sealed, delivered, money back guarantee that we're not going to fail. And that keeps us from exploring and trying and the joy of life. And I really have wanted to share that with you as a huge, huge thing. So please take a moment if you get a chance and go back one day in the group and check out that video on being, it's called The Long Game. And it's a YouTube series. I believe it's 3 videos. They're about maybe 11 minutes or so each. They're not very long. But it really, really goes into how all of these masters, these artistic and mathematical, these brilliant minds, how all of these people that we are taught to look up to, how they spent years working on their craft, working on themselves, and that is something that we never, ever hear about. All we see is the end result. And so we expect that for ourselves. We expect that the second we pop out of the womb, that we're going to be walking, we're going to be talking, we're going to be doing all these things, we're going to be valedictorian, we're going to be Lady Gaga, we're going to be Beyonce, we're going to be, like whoever we want, like whoever our ego ends up thinking that we need to be. And that just simply isn't how it works. And not only is it not how it works, it's counterintuitive to actually having that self-exploration, having that trial and error, and finding what actually works for you. And this goes for your spiritual work as well. And that's another point I really want to quickly share with you before I head back in to go keep cooking, is that there are going to be so many different tips and tricks and, you know, styles and belief systems and tools and all of these things that I'm going to be constantly throwing at you in this group. I want you to try as many of them as you can, because I promise you, under pain of death, that I'm not going to share anything with you that does not ring true for me, in so much as that my intuition is going, warning, red flag, do not do this, you know, kind of thing. Because there's a lot of information out there where you start to read it and you're kind of like, I don't know about all that. I don't know. That just doesn't sound kosher, you know, for lack of a better word. And that's not, you know, about belief systems or, you know, this, that, or the other. Thank you, Miss Sonia. It's about what feels true and what feels, you know, like you're honoring your intuition. Because your intuition will tell you, no, stop sign, do not go, do not collect, don't pass go, don't collect $200, don't do any of that crap. You know, it will let you know. So I am never going to share with anything with you in this group that has not passed that test for me, because I'm not going to share anything like that with you. I'm going to share stuff with you that feels like it's coming from a place of light and that's coming from a place of love. But there are so many different techniques from so many different belief systems, from all kinds of indigenous and ancestral ancient wisdom that you can pull from, that I want you to try as many of those as you can. Because what's going to happen is you're going to try something for a little while, and you're going to see if it jives with you. Much like when you try something new in cooking, or me with this home brewing, or, you know, anything else that has to do in life. Your spiritual practice and your personal growth and all of these things really come down to trying all of the different stuff, as much of it as you can. At least this is for me. This is the way I try and tackle my own spirituality and my own self-growth. Because you never know what combination of stuff is going to work for you. You are an individual soul having an individualized experience as you. You know, I am not Daniella the coach. I am the soul having the experience of Daniella the coach. You know, so it's really about finding what works for you individually and implementing that as much as you can. And that can't happen if you have that huge, looming fear of failure that, oh, anything I try, particularly when it comes to spirituality. And we're going to get into this a little bit tomorrow morning for our coffee talk, particularly talking about getting into contact with your spirit guides and starting to work with them, and possibly even touching on doing a bit of ancestral work and healing, but, you know, because now is Halloween and the veils are lifting and all the wonderful things. This has to do with that too, because if you really have that belief that, oh, you know, really no matter what I try, it's not going to work, and if it doesn't work right away, you know, it's just not going to work, then nothing's going to work. Nothing's going to work for you. And that goes for your spiritual growth, that goes for your personal growth as a human being, and the physical, you know, your mental work, that goes for cooking or trying, you know, riding a bike, swimming. It goes for anything in your life. That if you already have that belief that if it doesn't come to me absolutely instantly, if it doesn't happen right away, then it's not going to happen, that it's not real, that it doesn't work, then that is going to be your experience. And believe you me, sister friends and brother friends, that has been my experience in the past, because that is what I truly believed about myself, is that, oh, well, I have a specific talent, and it, you know, generally had to do in the artistic realm, whether it be costuming or, you know, painting or, you know, whatever, dancing, you know, whatever. So it's like, if this does not come to me absolutely 100% full-blown right away, then obviously it's not meant for me. And it's like, I don't know about all that, you know? It's like I've come to reformulate my ideas about that, because practice makes perfect. I mean, even when you're talking to your spiritual guides. And again, we'll touch on this tomorrow for Coffee Talk, so you don't want to miss out on Coffee Talk. If you want to come in for that, you know, make sure you try and get there early. It's going to be 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, and all the information for getting on the Zoom platform is in the events page. But we're going to touch on that, the fact that you got to practice, excuse me, I'm a little burpy, you got to practice working with your spirit guides. You got to practice asking for stuff, because if you don't start to practice, if you don't work that muscle, it's never going to happen. You're never going to get six-pack abs if you do sit-ups once and then expect yourself to have six-pack abs. Do you know what I'm saying? The whole world works like this. And I had to come to that realization on my own, on my lonesome, the hard knocks way. And it wasn't cute, let me tell you. Because apparently I'm hard-headed. And I'm sure my spirit guys are like, oh. Bless them. So if this is something that you're interested in having guidance about, that is what I do. This is what I love to do, is helping people find their way. Being that light, being that guide, and saying, oh, okay, so this is what's going on for you. This is what I'm hearing from you. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Let's try this meditation together. Let's try this practice together and see how you feel about it. That is the service that ultimately I provide, is someone that is a sounding board, someone that you can come to that's not going to tell you that you're crazy for going through all of these experiences, because believe you me, the deeper you get into this shit, the crazier you're going to seem by other people. I'm telling you. The people who are not on the kind of path that you're on right now, this is going to seem really weird for them. So I stand as a person that is here to support you, and that is what I love to do. So yes, you and me both, sister friend, okay? So that is, I just wanted to come and share that with you, and share, a little bit kind of about me and how I feel about it. Is this being this lifelong learner thing is very important, and it is so important to not only, how we think about things, but how we feel about ourselves. And how we feel about ourselves going through life and all of these experiences. Sorry, I keep looking away. The cat is like right here, and he's doing silly cat things. And it's about letting yourself off the hook for that guilt of not getting things right away. Yay! Can't wait. I hope I see you tomorrow there, Sonia. That will be awesome. But it's about letting yourself off the hook for these things, for not getting it right away. It's because there is a guilt associated with it. And when we try something and we don't get it right away, and we pound the guilt on top of ourselves, then that's really, really going to stop us from wanting, to try again. And that's really, really, really going to keep us from having the experience that we ultimately want to have. We just keep standing in our own fucking way. Sorry, F-bomb. We just keep standing in our own way. Because that is the mind, the training that, the naysayer is in there just grinding away. And this is all part of it. So that is what I ultimately wanted to share with you tonight, my loves, is it's about being a lifelong learner. It's about embracing the fact that we are here to experience and enjoy the ride, As one great voice said, it's not so much about the destination, it's about the journey. And I really, am starting to take that to heart, because I had a lot of ideas about what I wanted to be and who I wanted to be and all of these things, here, there, and yonder, and was really beating myself up for not meeting those expectations, particularly by a certain age, you know what I'm saying? Like husband, house things, blah, 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 like, you know what I mean? All of these things. And I had to really sit myself down and be really, really honest with myself and be like, is this really what it's about? Is it really about meeting some sort of deadline or some sort of goal that I feel like I've self-imposed upon myself in the negative fashion, where if I don't reach it by that age frame, then I'm not good enough? These are things that we all do to ourselves. And it is ultimately going to be one of the number one stopper and blockers to not only your physical density, joy, and physical experience, but also working on your spiritual work and your personal growth. So take that to heart. Let yourself off the hook every now and again, okay? That is one of the biggest things I tell my clients all the time. All the time. Let yourselves off the hook. Just a little bit, okay? It's important. And go check out those videos that are on YouTube. Again, I posted one of the starter one yesterday in the group, and it's called The Long Game, How Da Vinci Was a Failure, or something like that. So please go check those out. Totally worth half an hour of your time. 40 minutes of your time, even if you just watch them one by one as you can go, but definitely worth it. And I hope that I will see you all here. Hi, Kitty. I hope that I will see you, as many of you, here tomorrow for our coffee talk at 11:30 Eastern. And we, again, will be talking about, tips for getting in contact with your spirit guides and, questions having to do with that. And possibly, if we have time, getting into ancestral work. I mean, at least I'll touch on why getting into ancestral work is important. And it does, again, lead in with the spirit guides and lead into working on your own spiritual progress and personal growth and the things that we want to do to make our physical experience in life better and more joyful and fuller and more fulfilling. So that is my rant for you tonight, my lovelies. This has been Daniella of Redesign Your Life Forever. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you, Miss Sonia, for being here and listening to the entire rant. I see you. And hopefully I will see you all tomorrow for our coffee talk. And I will see you then. Have a brilliant night.